At exactly 10 years old, Joey McVay made a phone call that would forever change how we understand childhood violence. "I shot my mom," he told the 911 operator with a calmness that chilled everyone who heard it. What drives a child to cross the ultimate line? When most 10-year-olds are worried about homework and video games, Joey McVay was planning something unthinkable. This is the story of a rural Ohio family torn apart by rage, and the disturbing question of whether evil can truly exist in such a young heart. January 2nd, 2011, Holmes County, Ohio. The kind of place where neighbors still know each other's names and children grow up learning to hunt before they learn algebra. The McVay household seemed like many others in this rural community. Guns for hunting, family arguments over chores, and the everyday struggles of raising teenagers. But beneath this ordinary surface, something darker was brewing. The morning started with what every parent recognizes: a child's tantrum. 10-year-old Joey McVay didn't want to accompany his mother Deborah and 15-year-old sister Shauna to the laundromat. Such a mundane disagreement, such a trivial spark for what would become an inferno. Picture this scene: a frustrated mother tired of arguing with her defiant son, a teenager caught between wanting to help and wanting to stay out of it, and a little boy whose anger was about to transform into something monstrous. The argument didn't end at the laundromat. Like poison seeping through the walls of their home, the tension followed them back. More words, more frustration. This time it centered around something even more ordinary: bringing firewood inside. Joey stormed out, slamming the door with the dramatic flair that only angry children can muster. If this had been any other family, any other day, he might have cooled off outside, maybe kicked some rocks, maybe sulked until dinner time. But Joey McVay was different. When he returned to that house, something had shifted in his young mind. His mother was on the phone with his grandmother, a conversation that would become a horrific witness account. As Deborah spoke, Joey burst in, demanding to know who she was talking to. His mother made a choice that thousands of parents make every day when dealing with an angry child. She refused to engage. She wouldn't speak to him while he was screaming. For most children, this would be frustrating. For Joey McVay, it was a death sentence for his mother. What happened next reveals the chilling calculation behind this tragedy. Joey didn't act in blind rage. He didn't grab the nearest object in a moment of fury. Instead, he walked deliberately to his bedroom. And here's where this story becomes truly disturbing. Inside that bedroom, investigators would later discover not one, not two, but 6 firearms, 6 weapons easily accessible to a 10-year-old boy. The McVay family, like many rural households, saw guns as tools of their lifestyle. Hunting was tradition. Responsibility with firearms was expected. But expectations and reality don't always align. For 10 minutes, Joey sat in that room with multiple weapons at his disposal. 10 minutes to think, 10 minutes to reconsider, 10 minutes for his conscience to speak up. Instead, he made his choice. Joey emerged from his bedroom carrying a .22 caliber rifle. His 15-year-old sister Shauna watched in growing horror as her little brother confronted their mother. She begged him to stop. She pleaded with him not to shoot. But Joey McVay was no longer the little boy who had thrown a tantrum about the laundromat. The single gunshot that ended Deborah McVay's life was heard by 2 people in that room, and one more, miles away. Joey's grandmother, still on the phone, became an inadvertent witness to her daughter-in-law's murder. She heard the argument escalate, heard the chaos, heard the unmistakable sound of violence. She had no idea she was listening to the final moments of a life. But perhaps the most chilling detail of all was what happened immediately after. As Deborah McVay collapsed as her daughter screamed in terror, Joey pointed the rifle at his sister. For a brief moment, Shauna thought she was about to join her mother. Instead, Joey assured her he wouldn't shoot. Then, according to witness testimony, he looked down at his mother's body, smirked, and shrugged his shoulders. A smirk. A shrug. As if he had just broken a toy instead of ending a life. Joey walked out of that house and did something that still puzzles criminal psychologists today. He went to a neighbor's house and called 911 himself. No attempt to hide the crime. No effort to flee. He simply reported what he had done with an eerie calm that disturbed everyone who heard the recording. "I shot my mom," 4 words that would define the rest of his life. When police arrived, they found exactly what Joey had told them they would find. Deborah McVay face down on her living room floor, killed by a single gunshot to the head. The rifle placed neatly on Joey's bed, exactly where he said it would be. But here's where this case becomes even more complex. As investigators dug deeper into the McVay family dynamics, 2 very different pictures emerged. Joey's father painted Deborah as an angry woman with severe disciplinary problems. He claimed she yelled constantly, that she had physically abused the children in the past. Joey's defense attorney would later argue that the boy had been emotionally battered to the breaking point. According to this narrative, on the night of the murder, Deborah had told Joey he was worthless, that she never wanted to see him again. But Joey's sister Shauna told a different story. While she acknowledged that Joey and their mother argued frequently, she described her relationship with Deborah as normal. She painted a picture not of an abused child finally snapping, but of a dangerous boy who killed his mother simply because she stood in his way. Which version was true, and does it even matter? Joey's behavioral problems weren't new. School records showed incidents dating back to when he was just 6 years old. A confrontation with a bus driver, hitting his principal with a dustpan during a timeout. Episodes of striking out in anger when provoked. The warning signs were there. But warning signs of what exactly? Childhood behavioral issues or something far darker? 2 psychologists evaluated Joey and determined he wasn't competent to stand trial. They diagnosed him with depression, anxiety, and learning disabilities. He was sent to a treatment facility where, by all accounts, he began to improve. A year later, something changed. A judge reviewed Joey's progress and made a controversial decision. Despite 3 experts recommending against it, Joey was deemed competent to face trial. His global assessment scores had improved dramatically from 55 to 75. But his attorney worried. How would a now 11-year-old boy react to seeing autopsy photos of his mother? How would he handle sitting through testimony about what he had done? The prosecution, meanwhile, was clear about their position. This wasn't an abused child who had finally snapped. This was, in their words, an admitted juvenile delinquent who had committed cold-blooded murder. Joey's sister Shauna requested the harshest possible sentence. Think about that for a moment. A 15-year-old girl who had watched her brother kill their mother, who had stared down the barrel of that same rifle, asking the court to ensure he never got the chance to hurt anyone again. What had she seen in Joey's eyes that night? What did she know about her brother that the rest of us might never understand? In the end, Joey accepted a plea deal. Guilty to murder in exchange for avoiding a trial that would have forced him to relive every detail, every photograph, every piece of evidence. He would remain in custody until his 21st birthday. The prosecutor's words ring with a chilling truth. This case was never about what he did. It was about what we were going to do with him. But here's what haunts me most about this case. Joey spent 11 years in treatment facilities working with therapists, showing impressive progress according to his counselors. In 2013, he was even allowed to remain on probation at the treatment facility rather than being transferred to adult prison. By 2024, Joey McVay is over 21 years old. He has likely been released back into society. He could be anyone, anywhere. The little boy who once smirked over his mother's body is now a man with a new identity, a fresh start, and the rest of his life ahead of him. As one judge noted, he's going to be behind us in Walmart or at the gas station one day. The question that keeps me awake at night is simple. Can someone who commits murder at 10 years old truly be rehabilitated? Can therapy and time erase the capacity for such calculated violence? Joey McVay's story forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about childhood, violence, and the thin line between justice and vengeance. His mother, Deborah, who loved cooking, camping, and spending time with her family, was buried in a private ceremony. She left behind not just Joey and Shauna, but 3 stepchildren and 2 grandchildren who must live with the reality that their family was destroyed by its youngest member. The McVay case reminds us that monsters aren't always born in darkness. Sometimes they grow up in ordinary homes with ordinary problems until one day they make an extraordinary choice. And sometimes the most terrifying thing of all is how normal they can seem afterward. The next time you see a child having a tantrum in public, remember Joey McVay. Remember that behind every angry outburst is a choice, and some children make choices that change everything forever. What do you think? Can a 10-year-old truly understand the finality of murder? Or are there some crimes that reveal something fundamentally broken that can never be fixed? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the darkest corners of human nature. Because sometimes the most disturbing truth of all is that evil can wear the face of a child.